Michel Foucault, a towering figure in 20th century philosophy, significantly influenced the way we understand power, knowledge, and social institutions. His works delve deeply into how these elements intersect to shape human experience and societal structures. Foucault's influence extends across multiple disciplines, including sociology, history, and cultural studies. Among his most pivotal contributions is the History of Sexuality, a text that challenges conventional understandings of sexuality and its regulation by societal norms. Through this work, Foucault not only deconstructed traditional views on sexuality, but also laid the groundwork for many ideas that would become central to postmodernism. Overview of the history of sexuality. The History of Sexuality is one of Foucault's most influential works, comprising multiple volumes that explore the complex relationships between power, knowledge, and sexuality. Foucault's primary goal in this work is to dismantle the repressive hypothesis, a widely accepted idea that Western society has historically repressed sexuality. Instead, Foucault posits that power does not merely operate through repression, but rather through the production and control of discourse surrounding sexuality. He argues that sexuality, far from being a natural and fixed aspect of human identity, is a construct shaped and controlled by various social institutions such as the church, the state, and medicine. Power, knowledge, and sexuality. Central to Foucault's argument is the idea that sexuality is not just a personal or biological matter, but is deeply influenced by societal power structures. According to Foucault, power is omnipresent in society, operating not only through institutions but also through knowledge production. In the History of Sexuality, he illustrates how various discourses about sexuality have been produced by those in power to control and define sexual behavior. These discourses in turn shape individuals' understanding of their own sexuality, influencing what is considered normal or deviant. This concept is crucial to postmodern thought, which often critiques the way knowledge is constructed and used to enforce social norms. The repressive hypothesis. One of the most significant contributions of the History of Sexuality is Foucault's critique of the repressive hypothesis. This hypothesis suggests that Western society has historically sought to repress sexual expression, particularly from the 17th century onward. Foucault challenges this notion by arguing that rather than repressing sexuality, modern society has actively produced discourses about it, thus regulating and controlling it. He suggests these discourses serve the interests of those in power by defining what is acceptable and what is not, thereby exercising control over individuals. This idea of power as productive rather than merely repressive is a key tenet of postmodernism, which often seeks to uncover and critique the subtle ways in which power operates in society. Biopower and the regulation of bodies. Foucault's concept of biopower is central to his understanding of how sexuality is regulated in modern society. Biopower refers to the ways in which states exert control over populations by regulating their bodies, behaviors, and identities. In the History of Sexuality, Foucault explores how biopower operates through institutions like the family, the church, and the medical establishment to define and regulate sexual norms. This regulation of sexuality is not merely about prohibiting certain behaviors, but about shaping how individuals understand and express their sexuality. The concept of biopower has been highly influential in postmodernism, which often examines how modern states and institutions exert control over individuals in subtle and pervasive ways. Impact on contemporary thought. The history of sexuality has had a profound impact on contemporary debates about sexuality, gender, and identity. Foucault's work has influenced the fields of queer theory, feminist theory, and gender studies, which often draw on his ideas to critique traditional notions of sexual norms and to promote a more nuanced understanding of sexual diversity. Foucault's concept of power as something that is exercised through discourse rather than simply imposed from above has been particularly influential in postmodern thought. Postmodernism often challenges the idea of objective truth, instead suggesting that what we consider to be true is often the result of specific power relations and discourses that have been produced by those in power. Michel Foucault's The History of Sexuality represents a significant shift in the way we understand the relationship between power, knowledge, and sexuality. By challenging the repressive hypothesis and introducing the concept of biopower, Foucault provided a new framework for thinking about how sexuality is constructed and regulated in modern society. His ideas have had a lasting impact on postmodernism, which often critiques the ways in which power operates through knowledge, production, and social institutions. In examining the complex relationships between power, knowledge, and sexuality, Foucault's work continues to influence contemporary thought and remains a cornerstone of postmodern philosophy.